Hi, Crystal. Let's go ahead and take a look here. I wanted to start off by saying sorry for the late post. No, it happens, and I am so sorry to hear about your loss. Um, Absolutely, no worries at all. Don't even mention it. Um, from my magazine, I noticed you're now capitalizing your eyes, and I highly recommend you capitalize your eyes in your posts. I mean, I'm okay with it for now, but theoretically, you might find yourself getting docked points for improper proper punctuation and grammar if you don't capitalize your eyes. And I just want to say that as just kind of a precaution. A magazine, I wanted to do something. Oh, by the way, your writing is great here. That's why I'm considering this. I want to address a couple of things for my magazine, and I wanted to do something that would be nice. Couples getaway. Yep. I went ahead and picked a photo I took of the beautiful lakes. I used as background image. We'll talk about that. The photo I picked was one I took actually on a date, so I think it's cute. I love that. Oh, that is awesome. The magazine is 8.5 by 11, absolutely, with the 1/8 inch bleed, excellent. And the colors are CMYK instead of RGB. Exactly. Why, Crystal? Because this is destined for print and not screen. So excellent. The logo was taken from the style guide. Excellent. And as well as the fonts. I did not want to make all of the text either too white or too black. So okay, all right. Let's go ahead and take a look. Thank you for including that. I got your ad open right here. But I think you're showing good technical execution, definitely. Um, so that's the good news. The thing I want to mention is that the ad could be more effective, and there's a few things here I think I could mention that will definitely take this to the next level. Okay, the first thing is the image. Now, I know you took this image, and hats off to you. Fantastic job for using your own imagery here. A lot of my critiques, if you've noticed through the weeks, are geared towards this piece being a solid candidate for inclusion in your final student portfolio when that comes. That said, a lot of my critiques are driven in that direction. I would prefer that you left this class with something of value that you can use with in your portfolio. That said, my comments are directed towards inclusion in the portfolio. Even though you're showing excellent proficiency here, I think we can improve things in that regard. The first thing is the background image. It's a great image, good job shooting it, but there's a couple of problems. Number one is it's not associated with a Caribbean atmosphere. This is very clearly taken in what looks like to be early fall, as there's still there's leaves on the ground. These are definitely northern hemisphere trees. So this image itself is not indicative of Caribbean. That's a problem. The next problem with the image is this pole right in the middle. It's creating some issues. Basically what it's doing is it's splitting the ad in half. It's forcing you to place the text right here. I would not recommend an image that has a focal point right in the middle. Remember your rule of thirds, okay? Remember the rule of thirds. And if you need a refresher, just go ahead and Google, do a web search for rule of thirds. And well, that'll do a good job of describing why this could be a more appropriate placement of that pole in the image. But my recommendation is to change the image altogether. Now, we have a couple of things for you to consider, and I'm going to go over to the announcements area. And I've been using this, and the reason I leave these examples up here is because they're just outstanding examples of what is expected for this assignment. And also, they're just really super compelling and successful layouts. Let's take a look at this one. So basically, what do we have? We have one main background image that features Caribbean scenery. Now, the Caribbean is considered to be some of the most beautiful scenery on Earth. Therefore, I think it should be reasonably expected to say that your client, Amethyst Bay, would want to feature the scenery associated with their location in the Caribbean as opposed to some other sort of scenery. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It's a pretty important consideration. And we can see that these are all showing these wonderful palm trees, white sand, beautiful turquoise waters, sunny skies, etc., etc. So my recommendation is to consider using a Caribbean image in your background. The type, I think, is done well. I think you are paying attention into those course announcements where you offset and layered the type as opposed to adding a stroke to it. That's a great technique, much more appropriate than adding a stroke. The headline itself, the subhead, I think it's just a little strange in that it's kind of staggered like this. And again, we have this poll that's forcing you to make these decisions, forcing you to ignore alignment in your subhead and forcing you to place the text over here. So in a perfect world, you would basically, this should be aligned somehow, somewhere. I would say just couples, establish a left margin, couples getaway, and then right underneath all-inclusive couples weekend getaway, all in one line underneath the couples getaway. It's going to exceed the length of the headline, but that's okay. Okay, and then at that point, the roses up here just seem a little bit unusual as they're just kind of floating in the air. My recommendation would be to bring those kind of down here, just to kind of decorate the contact information area of the ad. Okay, so again, you're showing excellent proficiency, but I think that there are some areas that could be improved. Now, I would like you to, now, you're not required to change the ad. I just think it's recommended, and if you do, I'd like to see the changes. Now, at the very least, I'd like to see you change that background image, only because it's really forcing you into some decisions that are less than optimal. So, and as I said, the good news is that you're showing excellent proficiency. So, reassembling this ad should take no time at all for you. Okay, so at this point, at this point, just please let me know if you have any questions or if I can clarify anything I said in the last 7 minutes here, and I'll be glad to do so. But I'd like to see those changes reflected in your final campaign. It probably would be a good idea to wrap up the magazine ad before you begin the banner ad, because of course we're using components from the magazine ad to create the banner ad. So it would stand to reason that the magazine ad should be complete and squared away before we begin the banner ad. Hope that makes sense. And again, Crystal, just let me know if you have any questions at all. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. Fantastic start. Thank you very much for sharing.